Hey everybody, welcome to Bestulized, where we take cool animations and effects and break them down for you so that you can do it yourself. Alright, let's get into it. Alright guys, so we're actually back from our previous project that we were working on, where we had our Z camera follow a 3D rotation and play with some exaggeration. But obviously this isn't really enough or appeasing, and I'm going to show you how to step up your game a little bit to end up with that element that we saw in the beginning. Alright, let's get into it. So first thing you want to do is duplicate and pre-compose all these assets that we were using before, right? All these layers that we adjusted in the previous project. So let's go ahead and duplicate these, and then so Control D for duplicate, and they're gonna pop up all weird like this. It's totally fine. And all we're gonna do here is right click without deselecting any of them and pre-compose them. Right, so this would be your pre-comp one. We'll name it asset adjust. So we're going to be doing some of that to it, right? You hit OK, and now it's inside of your 3D, right? So we'll double click to get into it, and this should have ended up in your compositions. Yes, your composition folder will carry your asset adjustment layer, and we'll leave that open for now, even though the bar is right here. Totally fine. Right, so we are here in the asset adjustment layer. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to leave all these things alone. We're going to go ahead and hit New, Adjustment Layer, and click that. This is what we're going to be playing with right now. So if we go over here and we go to our effects and presets, right? Now I'll go ahead and widen this out for you. We're going to go ahead and type in compound, and you'll see something called compound blur. We're going to go ahead and take that and drag it over to the adjustment layer and apply it, right? Alright, now that we have the compound in there, you could adjust this blur however you want. I usually stick to the 20s and 30s range. I'll go ahead and say 30 this time around. And the only real thing that we need to add into here, we'll go back into project. Inside your assets folder, you need to add something for the actual blur to partner with. And for me, that's going to be kind of like a paint splatter texture. So we'll go ahead and import that. Oh wow. We're just going to hit OK. That was a lot there. Okay, whatever. Okay, so we have a paint splatter, right? And that's awesome. Hey, open up a camera raw. It's an AVI. I should have known better than to import an AVIF file, but that's okay. It'll work. We're just gonna bring this down into our actual timeline here. So now we have a paint splatter, AVIF, or JPEG, whatever you're using. Totally fine. We're gonna scale that up to fit, right? And all that we're gonna do here is make sure we're gonna make sure that this actually covers up a bit of everything here. And we're going to go back into our effects panel and click that adjustment layer. Alright, so now we are adjusting the adjustment layer again. We're adjusting the effects on the adjustment layer. That sounds really strange, but it's totally fine. Right here on your blur layer, you're going to see that it's paired with itself, right? All we're going to do is click that and pair it with the texture that we just dropped in. Right? Pretty easy, pretty easy. Now you're probably wondering why you can still see this texture layer. Well, now that the adjustment layer is paired up with the actual texture, or the adjustment layer is paired up with the actual texture, we can go ahead and turn this off, and you'll see that we are now bordered with texture all the way around. Now, talking about that blur effect, right? Now we had it at 30. I only had it at 30 so that I could see what I was doing, right? So now we can bump this as far up or as far down as we want, right? Super simple. Like, I don't know. Maybe we'll go really simple on this one. Right about there. We could do a lot here. I'm about happy with 70. And it should just do what it says it's doing and blur your texture layer for you. Now, I'm not getting the desired effect I want out of this, and that's totally fine. All I'm gonna do, and this is how easy it is to switch it out, right? I don't have to do any deleting. I will delete this off my timeline now that I know I don't want it. And you'll see the blur comes back to the actual picture itself. It's always gonna be there. I'm gonna delete this out of my assets folder. This is how easy the switch is. Get rid of the old texture, drop in a new texture, move that to the assets folder for good organization, and drop it into your timeline. That's it. Take the adjustment layer, go to the effects control, and do the exact same thing we just did, where we paired the texture to the actual layer itself. We'll turn that off, and now this is looking more promising, right? So now we have something that's looking a little more promising for us as far as that blur goes, right? So we'll go ahead and play with the blur one more time. I think with this texture, I only need a certain level of blur. Yeah, about 30, just like we said before. Right? Awesome. So now we have the adjustment layer paired to the texture layer and blurred. Now we are safe to go back to our main composition where we were working, and this is going to be on top of everything. That's fine for now. We're going to go ahead and drop this asset adjust layer down below our 3 previous assets. And being as though we're working in 3D, you don't have to do this if you're working 2D, but being as though we're working in 3D, we're going to hit this 3D box and keep it 3D like everything else. We're going to open this up. Next thing we're going to do here is go ahead and open all this up right here. This is totally fine. Set this Z rotation to 180 degrees. We're going to lower the position of this adjustment layer down below our graphics, like almost all the way down, pretty much all the way down. Just about there. And then we're going to play with our X scale. We're going to go ahead and unlink that. I don't know why that's linked, but that's totally fine. We're going to play with our X scale. If I have this right, and it should be -100. And it should flip your camera, your adjustment layer so that it matches pretty well off if you're looking at your photo to the blur. Alright, yeah, so we've set up all of our stuff right here. And here's the funny part, right? This is where you're going to be like, oh, what the heck? Nothing worked, right? Because we have this. And what's going on here? All of my layers are just right there with each other. That doesn't make any sense. That doesn't help you guys. I'm going to show you how to fix that right now. There's this magic button right here under your asset adjustment layer. It's rasterize cog. So that's going to constantly rasterize this with your camera. So we're going to click that, and you'll see that it slows everything down. And we see that we have a lot of space down there, and that's not something we really want. So all we're going to do is very simply go over to our previous position, and we're going to bring that down until we're happy with what we have. And I'm going to say right about there looks fine. So now we have almost a glass-like reflection on a Z camera. Yeah, this cog is very important when playing with 3D. To continuously rasterize with your camera. So you have this going on right now. This is a lot of reflection though. And reflections don't really work like that. So let's fix that. So now that we have this done, this asset adjustment, there's one more thing that we can do with our effects here. to make this so that it's not a harsh reflection of the whole entire thing. If you want to blend into your background, this is how you do it. You're going to go ahead and type in linear. You should see a linear wipe. There it is. Perfect. We're going to take this and we're going to drag it to our asset adjust layer, right? Sorry, it just takes me a minute to wrap my head around what we're doing here. Okay, so linear wipe. Alright, so you play around with it a little bit, you know. It's totally fine to start from 0. Obviously we have some wonkiness going on over here. That's not what we want, of course. So all we're gonna do is drop down that effects menu all the way down for linear wipe. And we're gonna get rid of these keyframes. So delete those. We're gonna go to 0. And we're at a 90-degree angle wipe. And that's gonna send it this way. We don't want that. We want the wipe to go down, down. So we'll go ahead and adjust to 0 degrees. And obviously different products, different situations, so adjust your angle as needed. Our transition completion is going to tell it where it's going to be cut off. Where is this image, this reflection going to be cut off at, right? So I don't want too much reflection going on. I just want enough. And I'll find a happy medium at 15, I think. Yeah, so I'm at a 15%. And all I'm going to do right now, my angle's set, my completion's set. I'm going to go ahead and feather. I'm going to feather as much as I see fit. I'm like in the 50 to 60 range. So we'll go 55. And we'll call it for what it is there. Now you should end up with something like this. So it's super simple, super basic. I mean, obviously the rules of design aren't playing out too well in our favor here because we have a lot of rigid bounce, if you will. But it does call attention, and it is a nice little reflection of what your image is, you know. And that's really all it's about here. We're making sure that everything fits into place. But yeah, that's it. Thanks again.